Imagine a creature that swam in the same waters as the dinosaurs. This isn't a fantasy. It's the story of the lake sturgeon, a true living fossil. These remarkable fish have been navigating the world's freshwater rivers for over 150 million years, making them one of the oldest species on our planet. They are often called ancient giants for a very good reason. A fully grown lake sturgeon can be truly massive, stretching over 8 feet long and weighing as much as 300 pounds. Covered in tough, bony plates called scutes instead of scales, they look like they belong to a prehistoric time. Their long, powerful bodies and shark-like tails are perfectly designed for life on the river bottom, where they are a vital part of the ecosystem. For countless generations, these incredible fish were a common sight in the mighty Missouri and Mississippi rivers. They were a cornerstone of the river's health, their presence a sign of a thriving and balanced aquatic world. Think about it. These fish can live for an astonishing 150 years, meaning a sturgeon born in the early 1900s could still be swimming today. Their long lifespan and impressive size made them kings of the river, a symbol of the raw, untamed power of Missouri's waterways. They were a natural treasure, a link to a past that stretches back millions of years, swimming silently beneath the surface as history unfolded along the riverbanks. The lake sturgeon's appearance is as unique as its history. They have a distinctive, almost primitive look. Their mouths are located on the underside of their heads and can extend like a vacuum hose to suck up food from the riverbed. They use 4 sensitive, whisker-like barbels in front of their mouths to feel for insects, crayfish, and other small creatures hiding in the mud and gravel. List chunking, media group, close-up of sturgeon's barbels in muddy water, sturgeon searching riverbed with whiskers visible at its stock at a distribute_equally, insects, crayfish, other small creatures hiding in the mud and gravel. They are not fierce predators, but gentle giants, methodically searching for their next meal. Witnessing one of these fish in its natural habitat is like taking a step back in time, a powerful reminder of the deep and ancient history that flows through our rivers every single day. These fish are more than just big. They are a fundamental part of the river's story. Their very existence speaks to the resilience of nature and the enduring legacy of our planet's oldest inhabitants. For centuries, they swam in large numbers, a testament to the clean, free-flowing rivers that once defined the American heartland. They were a key indicator of the river's overall health. Where the sturgeon thrived, the entire ecosystem thrived. Their story is deeply intertwined with the story of Missouri itself, a connection that was almost lost forever due to human activity, making their recent return all the more special. Despite their ancient lineage and formidable size, the lake sturgeon faced a modern threat they could not overcome on their own. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, Missouri's rivers were a hub of activity, but this progress came at a great cost to the sturgeon. They were heavily overfished, with commercial harvests pulling tens of thousands of pounds from the water each year. Their eggs were prized as caviar, and their meat was also sought after. Because these fish take a very long time to mature, sometimes 20 to 30 years before they can reproduce, their populations simply could not recover from the intense fishing pressure. The giants of the river were being removed faster than they could be replaced. The challenges for the sturgeon went far beyond just overfishing. As towns and industries grew along the riverbanks, pollution became a serious problem. Chemicals and waste were often dumped directly into the water, poisoning the environment where the sturgeon lived and fed. This pollution degraded the water quality, making it difficult for all aquatic life to survive. The sturgeon, which rely on a clean riverbed to find food, were especially vulnerable. The very water that had sustained their species for millions of years was becoming toxic, turning their home into a dangerous and inhospitable place. The once pristine rivers were changing, and the sturgeon were paying the price. Furthermore, the physical shape of the rivers was being dramatically altered. The construction of dams along the Missouri and Mississippi rivers changed everything for migratory fish like the sturgeon. These massive concrete walls blocked their traditional spawning routes, preventing them from reaching the specific upstream areas with the rocky bottoms they needed to lay their eggs. The dams also changed the flow of the river, slowing it down and causing sediment to build up, which smothered the clean gravel beds essential for successful spawning. Their habitat was not only polluted but also fragmented and destroyed, leaving them with nowhere to go. By the mid-1900s, the once abundant lake sturgeon had all but vanished from Missouri's waters. The combination of overfishing, pollution and habitat destruction had proven to be a deadly trifecta. The ancient giants were pushed to the very edge of extinction within the state. In 1974, the situation was so dire that the lake sturgeon was officially listed as an endangered species in Missouri. It was a heartbreaking chapter in the state's natural history. The silent, powerful presence that had defined the rivers for millennia was gone, and it seemed as though Missouri might have lost this incredible piece of its living heritage forever. Just when it seemed like the lake sturgeon's story in Missouri was over, a dedicated group of people decided to write a new chapter. In 1984, the Missouri Department of Conservation launched an ambitious recovery program, refusing to let this ancient species disappear. This was not a quick fix, but a long-term promise, a multi-decade mission involving scientists, conservationists, and federal partners like the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Their goal was clear: to bring the sturgeon back from the brink. The first step was to protect the few remaining fish by making it illegal to fish for them, giving them a chance to survive. But protection alone wasn't enough. They needed to actively rebuild the population. This is where the incredible work at the hatcheries comes in. The process is a delicate and fascinating science. Biologists carefully collect eggs and milked fish sperm from adult sturgeon. This work often happens at the Blind Pony Hatchery, a place that has become central to the sturgeon's survival. The fertilized eggs are then carefully incubated under controlled conditions, protecting them from predators and disease. This gives them a much better chance of survival than they would have in the wild, where many eggs would be lost. Every single egg is precious, representing a tiny spark of hope for the future of the entire species in Missouri's rivers. Once the eggs hatch, the real work of raising the next generation begins. The tiny larval sturgeon are transferred to the Lost Valley Hatchery, where they have a safe space to grow. For months they are cared for by dedicated staff who ensure they have plenty of food and clean water. The young fish grow quickly in these ideal conditions, developing the strength they will need to survive in the wild. Each September, a special event takes place. The young sturgeon, now several inches long, are ready to be released. They are carefully transported to designated spots along the Missouri and Mississippi rivers and return to their ancestral home, beginning their life's journey. This stocking program has been the backbone of the sturgeon's recovery for decades. Since the 1980s, hundreds of thousands of hatchery-raised sturgeon have been released into Missouri's rivers. It was an act of faith, a long-term investment in the future. Everyone knew it would take 20 to 30 years before these young fish would be old enough to reproduce on their own. For years, the team worked, hoped, and waited. Volunteers and conservationists played a key role too, by reporting sightings of sturgeon, which helped biologists understand where the fish were living and identify potential spawning areas, building a community of guardians for the returning giants. After nearly 4 decades of patient, tireless effort, the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. The hatchery-raised fish, released as youngsters so many years ago, had grown into mature adults, and they were coming back to spawn. In the spring of 2025, for the 4th year in a row, biologists confirmed that lake sturgeon were naturally reproducing in Missouri's rivers. This was monumental news. The fish weren't just surviving, they were creating a new, wild-born generation on their own. For biologists like Travis Moore of the Missouri Department of Conservation, who had been involved with the program for almost 35 years, it was the highlight of a career. The project he knew since high school had come full circle. Seeing these magnificent fish spawning in the wild is a deeply emotional and inspiring sight. Volunteers have documented sturgeon thrashing near the surface of the Mississippi and Osage rivers, a powerful display as they release their eggs. This natural reproduction is the ultimate sign of success. It proves that the decades of habitat restoration, anti-pollution efforts and stocking programs have worked. The river is becoming healthy enough to support the entire life cycle of this sensitive species once again. While the ultimate goal is a fully self-sustaining population, this is a giant leap forward, a victory for conservation that resonates with everyone who loves nature. The return of the lake sturgeon is important for so many reasons. As an indicator species, their comeback tells us that the overall health of our rivers is improving. A river that can support these ancient giants is a river that is cleaner and more vibrant for all species, including us. Their return restores a critical piece of Missouri's natural heritage, reconnecting us to a prehistoric world that still exists just beneath the water's surface. In the future, if populations become stable enough, it could even lead to a regulated sport fishery, creating new recreational opportunities for anglers, much like in other states where sturgeon overcovered. This success story belongs to everyone, and everyone has a part to play in its continuation. We can all help by keeping our rivers clean, preventing pollution, and supporting conservation efforts. If you are a boater or angler and happen to see a sturgeon, report the sighting to the Missouri Department of Conservation. This information is incredibly valuable to biologists tracking their progress. The story of the lake sturgeon is a powerful lesson. With dedication, patience, and a shared commitment, we can help nature heal. We can bring a species back from the brink, and in doing so, we make our world a richer, wilder, and more wonderful place for generations to come.